Model A Mayhem. Just fired it up, gonna go for a little chew. Oh, that sounds really sweet. Just trying to trace out some electrical gremlins.
Yeah, the distributor needs to be a little bit more advanced than it is too.
There we go.
Just follow the flags. These open springs on the back really are massaging.
Oh yeah, it's super comfortable.
Yeah.
I think it's still going.
The car?
No,
oh, the camera? Oh no. Okay.
No, I could tell that the car was still going. Believe it or not.
I was like, yeah, it's fucking. Alright.
Oh, Grandpa's pretty fucking old.
Oh, dude.
We should go to Tom's. No, we don't have any problem.
It's really sensitive. When you put it in first, just literally coast the clutch out. Oh, yeah, look at that, eh? Percentages. This car is designed to do 40, so you gotta do it at 1.
It rides a little better than the Gravely.
I don't know, dude. The Gravely's got a cup holder.
How does it feel? This is its natural habitat. Got no leaks, no problems.
No, everything looks good. Fuck.
Got lots of gas.
Yeah, we got at least somewhere between 1/4 and 3/4, depending on how much it bounces.
Neutral. And oh, second, buddy.
Look at that, you know. Fuck, that was pretty good, dude. I'm impressed.
Hey. Now, I think what we'll do, because I gotta go remove my Fury, and if this will stay running, remove my Fury, and then we'll move Jim's car, and then we'll put this inside.
Hey.
That way if Jim comes, he's not stuck, because he might come while I'm out for dinner.
Just leave it out front with a bunch of tools. Hey, can you just quickly just fix all this stuff?
Yeah. Okay, we're back at the Model A truck. Fenders and running boards, and the rest of the tin work is all in, you know, it all needs a lot of work. I started on this last night, just trying to rough some of the horrendous damage out of it. Unfortunately, it has got a lot of very old, very sketchy repairs, and I think by the time you cut out all of the badly repaired areas, there wouldn't really be much fender left. So unfortunately, or fortunately, that means that we're going to try to just get it close and not really do a ton of body work, just make them fit, make them solid, make them stay on there, and make them presentable. But I'm not gonna try to address any of this. We'll just have to present it all as the way it was, and that's just fine with me, and I think it's okay with the owner of the truck. This running board is for the passenger side, so since that's the side I've started on, I'm going to tackle this next. It's in pretty bad shape. None of this should be here. These holes shouldn't be here. It's kind of badly cracked and fatigued and damaged, and I don't know what's going on here, but that's not good. So we're going to try to address all of this type of thing. That should not look like that. That shouldn't be there. None of that should look like that. Oops. None of that's very good. That should all be replaced. So that's today's job. Let's get at this Model A. This is not like a how-to kind of thing, but people do sometimes ask about seeing how we do some of the more basic repairs. So this is just somebody's been hitting that with a pick hammer, which is not really, I don't think, good. But the thing with body work and saying how to do something is that it doesn't really matter how you do it. Somebody else is going to say they have a better idea. So I will not be saying this is a how to do something. That's how to drop your phone. Here's the part I did earlier, and you can see it's starting to shape up. It was there. It's kind of the before, and then here we've been picking at it. Well, I shouldn't say picking. We've been slapping at it with this mallet. And so I'm going to carry on with these big guys up here. The top of this fender's pretty banged up. We wouldn't be doing any of this except that the fenders are not original to this particular truck, I don't think, and there was really no salvageable paint on them at all. So we've decided that while we love the original here, we're going to have to paint the fenders. If we're going to paint them, we don't really want to get too carried away. So, I don't know, just thought I'd like, if we just painted right over the raw hammer marks, that might look okay. Or we can take it a step further and finish it a little nicer, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to hammer on it. Oh, I guess we should do with my handy hammers here. You got your snap-on mallet made out of the tree in front of your house. What else we got? Get your snap-on piece of sandpaper. Got my snap-on lawn chair. So we'll just bang on this bit. So the idea here, pick a dolly that has a reasonable approximation of the radius you're trying to achieve, and you want to put crown of the dolly kind of in the center of where your dent is, and then you just kind of tap around here until when you hit the center of it, you see that your hammer is leaving a mark, which means that that is no longer lower than the rest of it. And you can kind of play with it a bit and kind of just smash it over top of this. This is an old dolly that I found in the woods when I was a kid. I was just fascinated. So I still have it. These ones, I don't know, they're a lot shinier, but I don't, disappointed, honestly. They crowned mostly in just one direction, which car bodies are not, so that's weird. This one's a little, I don't know, not sure. They look nice, but to me, certainly for the type of cars that stick around here, the higher crown. Otherwise, you're just leaving big edge marks. So yeah, I don't know. I don't use them. The hammers are okay, I guess. Once you file them to a kind of a shape. So anyway, This is the remains of the driver's side running board, which at some point, it's kind of hard to see now, has been actually just welded solid to the old fender. And then the whole mess has just really had the shit kicked out of it. So that's quite bad there. And similar problems here and here. It's been welded to the old fenders. All of it is pretty broken up and no longer functional. None of these holes should be here. It's been drilled through in multiple places to try and hold it on to whatever was there. It's hard to see. Quite badly bent and quite badly damaged here. All this is going to have to be cut out. Same, and I'm going to cut all of this off and just make a new piece, because that's just hardly worth it when you can start with some kind of an old printer or something. That is a nice original 16 gauge, so I don't usually keep that around, but I did have enough for this job, so I'm going to make a new end here, put that in, repair that guy. These are torn out. Got to repair all this. There's the repair on the other side, and all of this had holes in it as well. And I even made one of these little diamond things out of MIG wire to kind of blend the repair in. That was all, oops, that was all torn up, and now it's fine. So pretty much I'm just going to start by making the new piece, and then we're going to see how much of the old one we need to cut off. Okay, what we decided to do was just to replace the entire front of that running board, because it was just not worth trying to fix. So just put a new front lip together. Oops, and we're gonna zip this in there somehow. There, and that's gonna go with a certain amount of banging, I suspect. There. And hopefully repair all of that, and then when we're done I'll fold this lip over at the bottom to match the depth here. Yeah, so anyway, pretty straight up. Let's just weld that up and grind it down, and then the back is also quite poor. And all these holes, those are not good either. And it's actually quite badly bananaed. The driver's side front fender is from a different year, and the apron is actually welded. But the fender is the same, so we just drilled out the welds on the apron, and you can see some damage. I sanded it just so it'd be easier to see what's going on. That's where it bolts to the frame, so that's got to be sorted out. And so we're going to try and hammer all this to look like something before we weld that up. Otherwise there won't be any room for all this mess to go. So that's got to be done. Front here is bent over backwards. That shouldn't look like that. This fender's actually very good, I'm not complaining. Metal fatigue here. Some fairly bad damage on there. We'll have to have a look at that. I might put it back on the car before we fix that. But really, overall, a pretty good fender. Very happy to have had a chance to put this fender together. Quite a bit of damage in here. And some small collision damage on the front there, but whatever. Really, overall, an excellent fender, and certainly 100 times better than the one on the other side, which was a nightmare. So, we're going to touch this up, and then we'll have another look. Hey Frankers, what's going on, buddy? You hanging out with Dad today? It's pretty noisy in here. Yeah, you don't care? Alright. Franker's surprisingly not bothered by the noise, which is weird. Yeah, she's just bomb-proof with that. Does not care. Hammering continues on the Model A fenders. These were quite badly smashed up. Basically, we're trying to keep it realistic though. I'm spending 1 day hammering each fender, and whatever it looks like at the end of that day, that's what we get, because you could spend a month on each one if you wanted it perfect. So the running board repairs worked out nicely. All fits well there. Still some work to do with the way that the running board fits up against the rear fender, but I can't worry too much about that until the fender itself is straightened out a bit. This fender is actually really quite good. There was the damage in the corner there, which has come out rather nicely. The holes all line up now. The shape is good again. It's starting to fit with the apron, which is also quite rough. So there's the first throwing in of the front, whatever you call that, filler panel, I guess. Front filler panel thrown in. One light coat of Bondo on the fenders. So gets 1 coat of Bondo, 1 coat of primer, and painted. That's all there's time for. This fender still not hammered out yet. Pretty decent though. Well, not nearly as bad as the rear, which was hardly even recognizable. That's good stuff. You know, some of this I'm not even gonna try, right? There's so much old grandpa welds and stuff that we're just gonna have to do the best we can. To restore this, you would have hundreds of hours just into the fenders, and it's not really what we're after here. We're just trying to have a little fun. Now we're going to install the spare tire well in the driver's front fender, and already cut the fender and folded the edge down to give ourselves a flange. And then it will be plug welded, and then we'll just try to, make it presentable. This is the arm that'll support the tire. We've got a spare over there, and if this goes well, we'll be mounting that up. So we'll be fine-tuning this as we go. Still kind of just roughed in, but we'll pick at it a bit. So first thing, well, I guess the first thing is to just put it in with a couple screws and see how it fits. Okay, just 4 screws to hold that. I think now we're going to just test fit quickly here. So we'll have to tighten that up so it'll stay put. How does it look from under here? Well, it seems alright. Not too much to learn from under here, I guess. Seems pretty good. This is the arm that supports the spare wheel. And that is a tapered fitting there. So I'm just going to tighten this until I can move it. Jesus Christ. Okay. Alright. Now we can still move it, but it won't fall over. Well, for just the very first toss in there, it seems to fit exactly as it should. It is sitting exactly centered, and the center line of the opening is right on the center line of the wheel, and it's the same at the back here. That is just fine. So I don't think I could really get that much closer, so I'm going to weld it up, and then when we're done welding it, oh, see, now this makes sense. See where the door would have repeatedly hammered into the wheel as the doorstop broke. So we'll be installing doorstops so that doesn't keep happening. Oh, and this is a serious appeal if you have this tire. If you have the other Goodrich Silvertown V-tread truck tire in a 475-500-19, please leave a message if you would be willing to sell it, because we would love to have a pair of these on the back of this truck. Okay, let's get that spare tire well sorted out. All right, well, that went actually very well. Yeah, really not much really to explain there. The tire sits in there really nice, and there's really not much to that job other than get it in the right place and do it nice. There's always a little bit of extra work to get the corners right, because this all has to stretch when you pound it down, so you got to take your time and beat on that a bit and try to get the curve as reasonably decent as you can. Try to get these lines nice and straight, which is, it's certainly no worse than the rest of the car. And ditto up here, a little bit extra hammering and such to make that decent. That'll all, that should all look pretty fine. What have we got now? We're actually moving along the metalwork on this side of the car. So all that's left is to hammer the dents out of this fender. Somebody has obviously had a major dent on that one, and then has kind of beat it out rather rudely at some point. Same here. So I just sanded it to see what we're up against. Also some damage in there. So this is all just going to be a matter of mostly on dolly and then pushing this up a bit, and then really just a lot of ironing this stuff out, and then we'll see how it looks. It's a bit tricky because the brace for the fender runs right there, so we might have to take the brace off to get the rest of it. So we'll have a look at that. There's also 3 dents here and some kind of big ridge in it there, big kink in it here. That'll have to go. The rest of it really quite good, and down there also very, very good. This is really a really good fender. Not complaining at all. It's just a beautiful fender. Back one, let's have a look. Was not as beautiful, but after a reasonable amount of hammering, it is at least got a fender-like shape to it now. And the whole side of the car should come together here by the end of the night, and then bodywork quickly, and then prime and paint. Okay, well, I'm gonna try to film some of this. Try to pick a guide. Very good there. Start here. The thing is, I'm going to end up with this guy. Doesn't look as nice, but curves that way and that way. And this looks really cool, but doesn't have any radius in it that way. So when you put it under a curved surface, it's always going to touch here and here, and not in the middle where you're trying to hit it. So these have lots of situations where they are right, but not on these old high crown panels. Same with this. There's almost no crown in the other direction. Looks nice, but not as good as I found this. Found this in the trees once when I was a kid. Get nice and close, so the hammer will leave a little spot, just a shiny spot or whatever, so you'll know when it's no longer low, because the hammer will touch it. Okay, well, you get the idea. Just ironing all that out, and you can see that it's almost completely covered in shiny spots where the hammers hit it, because it really does need a lot of hammering. The sander, so that we don't keep trying to fix the same damage, because it looks like we haven't done anything. Where's the sander? Okay, just a little 80 grit to just kind of see if the high spots have gone away or whatever. That's the rough idea on the fender. I missed a little guy here and a little guy there. The bad one on the corner there, all gone. All the bad stuff up here, pretty much gone. I wouldn't really take it that fine, but it didn't really, it was hard to see on the camera if we'd done anything at all. So you can see the before, it's still quite ferocious here, quite badly damaged, but this is where the brace is. So we'll take the brace out, get it all like that, then we'll get ready to take it all apart and start painting it. That should look very nice. Should be no problem there. These old cars with simple shapes and high crown panels are a treat, and relatively straightforward and forgiving and fun and easy to work on. So not hating this at all, actually really enjoyable to do, you know, pure body work every now and then. It has been, I don't know when we last looked at this stuff. We do finally have the running board sorted. That had to be all made up. And it's all tight here. This is finally fitting nicely. So, between the fitting and the wheel well repair, that's a pretty decent day's work. Rear fender coming along. And then the hood and grille should be here. And the hood is a beautiful original piece. Some damage, but I really want to save all the paint and everything, so that's going to be another fun, challenging piece that we will not be painting. The fenders, of course, we really had no choice. They were so bad and the paint was gone anyway. So that quite easy to see. The difference a little bit of hammering would do, and that is pretty much ready to go. We'll have to take the brace out, finish the rest. That was the worst of it. The fender's actually very, very good. Well, there is the driver's side fenders and running board roughed in, and now we're going to do really one light coat of bodywork on the entire thing. I'm not touching the running boards. We're just not going to get that worried about it. But some of this old damage is bad enough that it needs a little mudding in. So that looks actually quite good, and very content with that. The tire fits perfectly. So let's get this in primer. Okay, painting day for the Model A fenders and running boards. Let's have a look. So there we are, very rough, but we're not trying to change the world. There's the spare wheel installed. Just hammered them enough to make them presentable. There's a ton of stuff we are not fixing because it's just not really relevant on a vehicle that's not really a restoration. There's the passenger rear. So again, one coat of bodywork, one coat of primer. In this case, 0 coats of bodywork, or this is getting straight to epoxy, heavy coat of epoxy followed by paint, because you just stand on them anyway. This all got one coat of bodywork and one coat of primer. There's the reinforcements. We had to make new ones because we altered the shape of the cutout here. And so there, this is all just getting hammered with epoxy and painted black. Ditto here, fixed everything that we could, and leaving a bunch of these old grandpa repairs was just, again, by the time we cut out everything wrong with these fenders, there'd be nothing left. So let's just enjoy them for what they are and put them back on the truck. I think it'll look just fine. Pretty content overall. There's the inside spare wheel. everything reasonably clean. Even a little bit of original paint there, but I'm just gonna paint over it. I don't care. And ditto in here, just cleaned up, and just making them presentable. It's September, so of course it's snowing. Nice. I'm gonna go hammer this black epoxy on, then we're gonna give it an hour to dry, and then we're gonna start probably just paint right over it. And then we can put it together almost immediately after. I mean, like the next day. I'm not gonna put it together immediately after. So, I'm gonna get ready to paint and turn the camera off so I can turn some tunes on, because you can't have them both going at the same time. That is the fenders painted, and that looks pretty good considering how haggard those were. That will be just fine. So we'll put it back together. We'll lightly buff them where we need to, and that'll be the end of it. Squeezing around. Those were pretty trashed. That will probably be more than enough for our beat up farm truck project. Paint didn't hide that.
Can you hear any of that?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
With the fan on?
It's pretty snowy for early mid-September, I have to say. The Buick is snowed in. Haven't even got it put away yet. That's where it's gonna go. It's a regular contributor.
Same old shit.